In this video, we're going to tie a little fly called the Beck's Super Bugger. It's a variation of the classic woolly bugger. First thing we're going to do is just start some olive thread. Then I'm going to take some painted lead eyes. I like to use yellow, but you can use whatever color is your favorite. We're going to tie them fairly close to the eye of the hook. I'm going to leave about a hook eye length away from the eye of the hook, just a little bit of room there. And we're just going to do our X wraps to secure those eyes into place. Once you get several wraps under there, if you want, you can super glue them. That'll keep them from rolling on you. I'll just skip that step just to make tying it a little faster for you. And the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to take our thread and we're going to build a little thread base. We're going to take it all the way back to the bend. And there we're going to tie in the tail. And for the tail, we're just going to use some plain Marabou. You can either use woolly bugger Marabou or blood quill Marabou. And we're going to tie in a tail that's about the length of the straight shank portion of the body. We're going to tie this Marabou in nice and tight, several wraps. Make sure it's secure, then we can just trim out all the excess. Lay down a few nice tight locking wraps. Now we're ready to tie in just a little bit of flash. For that I'm going to use 3 strands of pearl crystal flash. I'm going to tie these 3 strands right in the middle of a long clump. That leaves me an even amount on one side. Then I'll take the other amount and fold it to the other side. Or you can tie the 2 in separately. It's up to you. Then we'll trim this flash so that's just a hair longer than our Marabou tail. Now the next step is to tie in the body material. And for that we're going to use some Grizzly soft hackle. Beauty of this material is it has the soft hackle material at the tip and kind of a Marabou plume near the bottom. And we're going to tie this in by the Marabou plume at the bottom. The body of this fly is kind of a mix of the soft hackle and the Marabou. So we're just going to tie that in right there at the back. And then we're just going to take this material and we're going to wrap a body with it. With each wrap we can just kind of pull the material back, palmer it forward. And once you get to the tip, you just capture it. Trim out the tip. And then we're going to continue to wrap forward with a couple other pieces of the same material. And you're just going to do this until you reach the eye of the fly. Now once we reach the front section of the fly, I'm just going to take a few wraps and I'm going to wrap back up onto that Grizzly soft hackle that we tied in for the body. I'm going to leave just a little bit of room there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to tie in our legs, and I'm going to use some olive or light olive, barred and speckled crazy legs. We're going to tie these in right in the middle of the clump on the side of the hook. Then I'm going to take the other portion of the clump and just take it to the other side of the fly. Then we can draw the two legs together, and I'm going to trim them about the same length of the fly. You can kind of just let them hang there out of the way for now. Now the next thing to do is we're going to tie in some regular soft hackle material, some Metz soft hackle. This is going to make a little collar, imitates kind of some bloody gills, or just gives the fish a little bit of a kind of a hot spot to aim for. And I'm just going to strip away all the fluffiness and just leave the tip, which is the soft hackle portion. I'm going to tie it in by that tip. Now I'm going to take this material and I'm just going to build a little soft hackle collar around the fly, trying to get all the fibers to swoop rearward. You can use your hackle pliers to kind of help you get just the tip of the feather. Once you have a few wraps, you can capture the tip of that feather. Trim it out of there. Then what I usually like to do is just kind of spread the soft hackle evenly around the fly and draw it back, and I'll lay down some wraps, forcing all the material to swoop back onto the fly. If you have some captured fibers, you can just get in there with your scissors or a bodkin, draw them out. Now the next step is we're going to make a dubbing loop, and we'll take our thread right up to the eye of the fly. We're going to take a little bit of olive ice dub. I like to kind of mix my dubbing for the collar or head of this fly, and then I take a little bit of pearl and I'll mix the two together, kind of giving me an olivey pearl dub. But you can do whatever you want. I don't like just straight pearl on this fly. Since I'm tying an olive kind of colored fly, I like just a hint of pearl. Once I have it mixed, I'm just going to insert it into my dubbing loop, and I insert it in the dubbing loop fairly sparse. I don't want it too thick or too heavy in portions. Gotta be careful not to use too much of it on this fly. We're really just using it to build a head. And then we can spin it. I usually kind of pinch the material up near the head of it so it doesn't get caught in my dubbing loop. Once we have a nice dubbing rope formed, we can hook into it with some hackle pliers. Now all we're going to do is just build a head. I'll take one wrap right back there by the collar, and then I'll go around my eyes. Just kind of make sure you cover up all your thread wraps. And you can come to the front, capture it, Trim out the little bit of excess that you have. And we can whip finish. And what I like to do is just trim out any extra ice stub around the eyes. There's usually a few straggly fibers that kind of get in the way and get trapped. Once we have that done, we can kind of brush out the head. I like to have a few of the straggly fibers kind of build up a little scraggly head. This helps break up the form of the head as well. Just kind of makes it seamlessly blend into the body. Then I'll just draw the fibers back once I kind of get a few picked out. And that's all there is to the Beck's Super Bugger. Great little woolly bugger alternative. A lot of life and movement to this fly. Made up mostly of Marabou and soft hackle with a little bit of rubber legs in there. Very fun fly to fish. You can find all the materials for the fly on our website, intheriffle.com. There you can find the recipe information as well as the materials, of course, to tie the fly. And that is the Beck's Super Bugger.